You're 23 years old. You're a professional tennis player. Not a star. Not top 100. You're ranked 247th in the world. You play in challenger tournaments. Small venues. No TV coverage. No sponsorships. You make maybe $30,000 a year. After travel, coaching, equipment, you're barely breaking even. You're struggling. And then a man approaches you after a match in Bulgaria. He's well-dressed. Expensive watch. He knows your ranking. He knows you're broke. He makes you an offer. Lose your next match. First set 6-2. I'll pay you $15,000. Cash. Nobody will know. You hesitate. This is match fixing. It's illegal. You could be banned for life. But $15,000 is half your annual income. For one match. You say yes. You lose 6-2. 6-3. The money arrives in your hotel room that night. Cash in an envelope. You just sold your integrity. This is level 1. This is how match fixing starts. And once you start, the syndicate owns you forever. You're 23 years old. You just fixed your first match. And it was easier than you thought. You played bad. Not obviously bad. Just not your best. Double faults at key moments. Unforced errors on break points. You lost in straight sets. The match looked normal. Nobody suspected. The tournament officials didn't investigate. Your coach thought you were having an off day. And you walked away with $15,000. More than you'd make winning 3 tournaments. The math is simple. Why try to win for $5,000 when you can lose for $15,000? The fixer contact you again. Another tournament. Another match. Another $15,000. You agree. This becomes a pattern. You fix matches in Bulgaria, Turkey, Kazakhstan. Challenger tournaments in countries where nobody's watching closely. You're careful. You never fix matches your favorite to win. That would be suspicious. You only fix matches where you're the underdog, where losing is expected. You lose 6-4, 6-4. Close enough to look competitive. Far enough that the syndicate makes money betting against you. You fix maybe 15 matches that year. You make $225,000. That's more than the top 50 players make in prize money. But the pressure is intense. The syndicate doesn't ask anymore. They tell you, lose your next match, or we'll expose you. We have recordings. We have bank records. We'll send them to the ADP. You'll be banned for life. You're trapped. You can't refuse. And even if you wanted to quit, where would you go? You're 24 years old. You have no college degree. No job skills. Tennis is all you know. And legitimate tennis doesn't pay enough. So you keep fixing. You become the syndicate's puppet. They tell you when to win, when to lose, what score to finish. You don't control your career anymore. They do. You also see other players doing it. You're not alone. At a tournament in Uzbekistan, you recognize 3 other players you know are fixing. You don't talk about it, but you know. You see the same tells. The double faults at 40-40. The unforced errors on break points. The convenient injuries that lead to retirements mid-match. Match fixing is everywhere in lower-tier tennis. Some estimates say 1 in 10 matches at challenger level are fixed. The ADP knows. They investigate. But proving it is hard. Without direct evidence, they can't ban players. So the corruption continues. And you're part of it. Tennis has the worst match-fixing problem among professional sports. Underpaid players, high betting volume, and minimal oversight. Between 2015 and 2020, more than 150 players were flagged for suspicious betting patterns. Leave a like if you didn't know. You're 26 years old. You've been fixing matches for 3 years. You've made over $500,000. The syndicate is happy with you. So they promote you. They want you to recruit other players. Find struggling athletes. Players ranked 150 to 300. Players who are broke, desperate, vulnerable. You know these players. You compete against them. You know who's struggling financially, who's about to quit, who needs money. And you approach them, just like the fixer approached you. I can help you make real money. Interested? You recruit 5 players in your first year. All of them between ranks 180 to 250. All of them making less than $40,000 annually. You offer them the same deal you got. Fix matches. Get paid. They all say yes. Why wouldn't they? The money is life-changing, and the risk seems low. Nobody's watching challenger tournaments closely. Nobody cares if a 200th ranked player loses to a 150th ranked player in the first round in Tashkent. It's not news. It's not investigated. It's invisible. And that's what makes it perfect for the syndicate. For every player you recruit, you get a commission. $5,000 per player plus 10% of their match-fixing earnings. Your first recruit makes $100,000 his first year fixing. You get $10,000 just for introducing him. This is easy money. You recruit 10 more players over 2 years. You're now managing a network of 15 corrupted athletes. You coordinate their fixes. You tell them which matches to throw. You collect their payments. You take your cut. You're making $200,000 per year just from recruitment commissions, plus another $150,000 from your own fixes. You're clearing $350,000 annually. You're richer than top 30 players, and you're ranked 198th. But the system is fragile. One of your recruits gets nervous. He confesses to his coach. The coach reports him to the ADP. The player is banned for life. The investigation expands. They interview other players. Your name comes up. You're questioned by the Tennis Integrity Unit. They ask if you know the banned player. You lie. Yeah, we played in some tournaments together. I didn't know he was fixing. They don't have evidence against you. Yet, but they're watching. You're on a list now. You need to be more careful. Or you need to move up the chain. Get into the syndicate's inner circle where you're protected. The ADP Tennis Integrity Unit investigates 500 suspicious matches per year. They can only prove corruption in about 2 to 3% of cases. The other 97% get away with it. The system is broken. You're 30 years old. You've been recruiting players for 4 years. You've built a network of 30-plus corrupted athletes. But you hit a ceiling. Fixing player matches is profitable, but there's a limit. Players can only throw so many matches before they get flagged. The syndicate needs more control. They need to fix bigger matches. Matches with stars. Top 50 players. But top players won't fix. They make millions legitimately. They don't need corruption money. So the syndicate targets someone else, the referees. And they want you to recruit one. You approach an umpire you know. He's 45 years old. He's been officiating for 20 years. He makes maybe $70,000 per year. He officiates at ADP 500 tournaments. Some masters 1,000 events. He's respected, experienced, trusted, but he's also underpaid and undervalued. You approach him after a tournament in Monte Carlo. You buy him drinks. You talk about how unfair it is that players make millions while officials make nothing. You sympathize. You build rapport. Then you make the offer. What if I told you that you could make $50,000 for one match? One call. One decision. That's it. He's interested, but skeptical. What kind of call? You explain. A foot fault. A double bounce. A let call. A code violation. Any controversial call that can shift momentum. In tennis, momentum is everything. One bad call at a critical moment can change the entire match. The syndicate has analyzed this. They've identified moments where a single call has a 70% probability of determining the winner. If the umpire makes the right-wrong call, the syndicate can bet accordingly and make millions. And the umpire gets $50,000. Tax-free. Untraceable. He agrees. His first fix is at an ADP 500 tournament. The match is close. Third set. 5-5. The player the syndicate is betting against serves. The umpire calls a foot fault. It's a terrible call. The player wasn't even close to the line. The player argues. The crowd boos. But the call stands. The player loses his composure. He loses the game. He loses the set. He loses the match. The syndicate makes $5 million on bets placed across multiple markets. The umpire gets his $50,000. And nobody can prove anything. It was a judgment call. Umpires make mistakes. There's no replay review at that tournament. The call stands. But corrupting referees is dangerous. Referees have power. They can be investigated. And if one talks, the entire syndicate is exposed. The ADP starts implementing more video review. Hawkeye technology. Electronic line calling. It's harder to make bad calls without getting caught. The Syndicate adapts. They target smaller tournaments without technology. They target clay courts where ball marks can be misread. They target lower-level officials who are desperate for money. The corruption runs deep, and you're at the center of it. You've corrupted over 50 people now. Players, umpires, even some line judges. You're making $500,000 per year. But you're also building a criminal empire that could collapse at any moment. In 2016, an investigation found evidence of widespread umpire corruption in tennis. The ADP covered it up. No officials were publicly sanctioned. The problem still exists. Who watches the watchman? You're 34 years old. You've been in match fixing for 11 years. You've corrupted over 100 people. Players, umpires, coaches, even some tournament organizers who schedule matches to favor fixed outcomes. The Syndicate promotes you again. You're now a coordinator. You don't recruit anymore. You manage operations. You coordinate fixes across multiple sports. Not just tennis, soccer, cricket, basketball, esports, any sport with significant betting volume. Your job is to ensure the fixes happen smoothly. Players perform their roles. Umpires make the calls. And the Syndicate makes millions. The operation is sophisticated. The Syndicate operates out of Singapore. They have offices, legitimate businesses as fronts, sports analytics companies, betting consultancies. They launder money through casinos in Macau, through real estate in London, through cryptocurrency exchanges. They move $500 million per year through the system. Your cut is 5% of coordinated fixes. You make $2 million per year. You're rich. You live in a penthouse in Singapore. You drive a Porsche. You travel first class. You're living the dream. But you're also running a criminal organization that spans 30 countries. Your biggest operation is soccer. The Syndicate has corrupted players and referees in leagues across Europe, Bulgaria, Romania, Turkey, Greece. Second-tier leagues where salaries are low and oversight is minimal. You coordinate fixes in 50-plus matches per season. The Syndicate bets millions on each match. They use offshore betting sites, Asian bookmakers, unregulated markets where large bets don't trigger investigations. They make 20 to 30% profit per match. On a $10 million bet, that's $2 to $3 million profit per match. 50 matches per season. You're talking about $100+ million in annual profit just from soccer. But you're also attracting attention. Interpol has a sports corruption task force. They're investigating international match-fixing syndicates. Your syndicate is on their radar. They've arrested some lower-level players in Europe. They're working their way up the chain. They have informants, players who flipped, umpires who confessed. They're building a case. And your name is in the files. You're not safe in Singapore. Extradition treaties exist. If Interpol builds enough evidence, Singapore will hand you over. You start planning an exit, moving money to countries with no extradition. Looking at Paraguay, Dubai, Russia, countries where you can disappear if needed. One day, the syndicate boss calls you. There's a problem. A cricket player in India refused to fix a match. He was threatened. He went to the police. Now the Indian anti-corruption unit is investigating. They've arrested the fixer who approached the player. The fixer knows your name. He has your contact information. He might talk. The boss tells you to handle it. Make sure he doesn't testify. You know what that means. This isn't about bribes anymore. This is about violence. You arrange for the fixer to be attacked in prison, beaten, hospitalized. The message is sent. He doesn't testify, but you've crossed a line. You're not just coordinating matches anymore. You're coordinating violence. And murder might be next. Interpol estimates the global match-fixing industry is worth $1 to $2 billion annually. Organized crime syndicates control 80% of it. This isn't individual corruption. This is international organized crime. You're 42 years old. The previous syndicate boss was arrested by Interpol, extradited to Belgium, sentenced to 20 years. The organization needed a new leader. You were the most experienced, the most connected, the most ruthless. You became the boss. You now control a match-fixing empire that spans 40 countries. You have 500 plus corrupted athletes on payroll, 50 plus corrupted referees, dozens of tournament organizers, bookmakers, analysts. You run the largest sports corruption syndicate in the world, and you make $20 million per year. But being the boss means being a target. Every law enforcement agency in the world wants you. Interpol, FBI, Europol, national anti-corruption units in every country you operate. They have task forces dedicated to taking you down. Your face is in databases. Your phone is tapped. Your bank accounts are monitored. You communicate through encrypted channels. You use burner phones. You meet in person in countries with no surveillance. You live in constant paranoia. You trust no one, because in this business, everyone can be bought, and everyone can be flipped. Your operation makes $500 million per year in profit, but you also have massive expenses. Paying bribes to athletes, paying referees, paying lawyers for arrested members, paying for security, paying for technology to avoid detection, paying off informants to sabotage investigations. Your profit margin is about 40%. That's $200 million. You take 10%. That's $20 million. The rest goes to the organization. Reinvestment, expansion, protection. This is a business. A massive, sophisticated, international criminal business. But the pressure is unbearable. 3 of your top coordinators have been arrested in the last year. 1 in Italy, 1 in Turkey, 1 in Malaysia. They're all facing 20-plus year sentences. And they all have information about you. Interpol is offering them deals, reduced sentences in exchange for testimony. You're waiting for one of them to flip, waiting for the call that an arrest warrant has been issued. You've moved most of your money offshore. You have passports from 3 different countries. You have safe houses in Paraguay, Dubai, and Cambodia. You're ready to run, but you don't want to. You've built this empire. You're not going to abandon it. And then the FIFA corruption scandal breaks. In 2015, the U.S. Department of Justice arrests FIFA officials for bribery and corruption. The investigation reveals massive match-fixing in international soccer. Your syndicate is mentioned in the investigation files. Not by name, but the patterns match. The methods match. The U.S. is now involved. And the U.S. doesn't play games. They have resources. They have jurisdiction over anyone who uses U.S. banks or U.S. dollars. And you do. Your money has touched American financial systems. That gives them legal authority to prosecute you. You're no longer just running from Interpol. You're running from the FBI. And the FBI always gets their target. The FIFA corruption scandal exposed $150+ million in bribes. But match-fixing wasn't the focus. If investigators had followed that thread, dozens of syndicates would have been exposed. They didn't. The fixing continues. You're 45 years old. You've been on the run for 3 years, living in Dubai, then Paraguay, then Cambodia, moving every 6 months, never staying in one place too long, never using your real name, never contacting family. You're a ghost. But ghosts eventually get caught. You made a mistake. A small one. You used your real passport to fly from Phnom Penh to Bangkok, just for 1 day. A business meeting. You thought you'd be safe. You weren't. Interpol flagged the passport. Thai immigration detained you. You were arrested at the airport. Interpol agents were waiting. They had an international arrest warrant. Multiple countries wanted you. Belgium, Italy, the United States. You were extradited to the U.S. The charges are extensive. Racketeering, wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, sports bribery. The U.S. Department of Justice is prosecuting you under the RICO Act, the same law they use for organized crime, mafia, drug cartels. You're facing life in prison. The trial lasts 8 months. The prosecution presents overwhelming evidence. Bank records showing $500 million in suspicious transactions. Testimony from 40 former syndicate members who flipped. Wiretaps of you ordering fixes. Video evidence of fixed matches with your betting patterns overlaid. It's devastating. Your lawyers argue entrapment. Insufficient evidence. Jurisdiction issues. Nothing works. The jury deliberates for 2 days. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentences you to 40 years in federal prison. You're 46 years old. You'll be 86 when you're released. If you live that long, you're sent to a federal prison in Pennsylvania. Medium security. It's not supermax, but it's harsh. You're in a cell with another white-collar criminal, a former hedge fund manager who ran a Ponzi scheme. You talk about your crimes. He stole $200 million from investors. You corrupted hundreds of athletes and fixed thousands of matches. You both destroyed lives for money. And now you're both here, dying slowly in concrete boxes. Your syndicate collapsed without you. The coordinators split up. Some started their own operations. Some quit. Some were arrested. The organization you built is gone. But match-fixing continues. New syndicates formed. New leaders emerged. The demand for fixed matches never stopped. The betting markets are too large. The money is too big. As long as athletes are underpaid and betting exists, corruption will exist. You didn't create the problem. You just exploited it. And now someone else is exploiting it. The system didn't change. Only the players changed. You're 52 years old. You've been in prison for 6 years. You have 34 more to go. You're not the boss anymore. You're inmate number 72814. You wake up at 6 a.m. You eat prison food. You work in the kitchen for 25 cents per hour. You exercise in the yard. You read books in the library. You go to sleep at 9 p.m. This is your life. Every day. For the next 34 years. Until you're 86. If you live that long. Most prisoners don't make it to 86. Heart disease. Cancer. Violence. Something gets you. You'll probably die here. You think about the athletes you corrupted. Over 500 of them. Some were banned for life. Their careers destroyed. Some went to prison. Some fell into depression. Some killed themselves. You destroyed hundreds of lives. For money. For power. For a criminal empire that collapsed the moment you were arrested. Was it worth it? You made $60 million over your career. You spent maybe $10 million. The rest was seized. It's gone. Frozen accounts. Confiscated assets. The government took everything. You have nothing. Just a prison cell and regrets. You also think about the sport. Tennis. Soccer. Cricket. Basketball. You corrupted all of them. You made fans doubt every match. Every call. Every result. Was that fixed? People ask that now. They watch a surprising upset and wonder if it was legitimate or bought. You destroy trust in sports. You turn competition into theater. And for what? So gambling syndicates could make money. So bookmakers could profit. You didn't just destroy athletes. You destroyed the integrity of global sports. The match-fixing continues. Even now. You read about it in the news. Tennis integrity investigations. Soccer scandals in Asia. Cricket fixing in Pakistan. New syndicates. New bosses. New methods. The system didn't change. The enforcement didn't improve. Athletes are still underpaid. Betting is still unregulated. The incentives for corruption still exist. Nothing changed. You're in prison. But the crime continues. And that's the real tragedy. Your life was wasted. But the problem you exploited? Still there. Waiting for the next person desperate or greedy enough to exploit it. You're 52 years old with the body of a 65-year-old. Prison ages you. And you have 34 years left. You'll die here. Alone. Forgotten. And the world will keep turning. Sports will keep being played. Bets will keep being placed. Matches will keep being fixed. And nobody will remember your name. Just another criminal who thought he was smarter than the system. Until the system crushed him. This is the rank system, where we show you every level of the world's most dangerous hierarchies. Match-fixing promised millions. It delivered life in prison and destroyed global sports. If you made it this far, hit subscribe. Next week, we're breaking down every rank in a counterfeit operation, from street-level fake Rolex dealers to billion-dollar currency counterfeiters. And remember, match-fixing investigations flag 500-plus suspicious matches every year. But they can only prove corruption in 2 to 3%. The other 97% get away with it. When you watch sports, you're probably watching corruption. You just don't know which match is fixed. Trust nothing.